Retirement Day 27. I'm here in the Claremont Colleges area in the city of Claremont. I'm on 6th and Yale. There are so many beautiful houses here. Heck, they're all beautiful. I used to not really like coming to this area because I didn't feel like I belonged. I'm not a rich person, but there was a church here I wanted to go to, and I finally did. And I found a way to, well, the people here are nice, so I don't know if I would say I feel accepted, but it's okay for me to be here. I'm just a bit distracted by how pretty these houses are. Every street you go down here. Now, if you are familiar with the Claremont Colleges, they are some of the most prestigious colleges grouped together in the world, I guess universities. So I would not qualify to go to them because I don't have a prestigious mind, more prestigious background, but that's okay, I'm older anyway. I'm not looking to do that. I enjoy being around here and walking around. Luckily, I have the ability to wear decent clothing, and I do have the privilege of being white, so no one's going to give me any weird looks. I went to church, and wow. It's a very, very, very liberal church, and so this being the last day of June, the focus was on diversity and inclusion. And right now, I just went to a brunch afterwards. What I found interesting is they give a chance, and I haven't seen this at another church, nor at even at this one ever. But they give a chance for people to go up there and talk, at least today, and give their testimonials. And that's the first time that, since I've been there, that I've ever seen that done. That I've just seen some of the lay people get up there and talk. So the first guy who got up there, he was raised in the church. First, he was raised in the Baptist church until he was 10 years old. And then they switched over to the Southern Baptist Church. And he said it wasn't until he was older that he realized that he had same-sex attraction. So eventually he came to this church because he felt like it was a place where he could worship God and have a relationship with Him and be who he was at the same time. Afterwards, a family went up, and it was 2 women and their transgendered girl who's becoming a boy. I would say, I don't know, maybe she's 22, if even that. And then the other daughter, excuse me, that was this demure looking sweet Asian girl. And they each talked and gave their testimonies and their perspectives on their lives and whatnot. I just wanted it to go on and on. It was super interesting, and I enjoyed the sermon. It's just so different from anything I've experienced before, and that's what I get from going to this church, United Church of Christ. Now, I am a member of United Church of Christ, but not of that location. I've just been too busy in the past to actually get around to becoming a member, but maybe now that I'm retired, as long as I stay in this area, I don't see why not becoming a member of that church, though I really don't want to have to get up there in front of the whole congregation and be introduced and write a little bio of my interests and whatnot. Aren't these houses and trees just gorgeous? Now, if you live in Southern California, trees like this, they are as coveted as water itself. So this is an amazing area. Now straight ahead there is a park coming up. And last Sunday after church I went over there and just watched a couple of teams playing baseball, some co-ed teams. People were all different levels from, couldn't even really play to being very, very good hard hitters and good catchers. If you look at 7th Street, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna cross the street. So, because I'm so low tech, I don't know how to pause this and then pick it up again and not have it be a separate video. But I don't want to be one of those people walking across the street talking on a phone. So you're gonna have to put up with looking at the ground for a second. Or how about this? I'll have you look at my shirt. All right, I made it safely to the other side. A nice thing about being older is I think you have a better perspective on phones. Being raised in an era before there were even cell phones, let alone internet phones, you know how to put them in their place. What I didn't like during the sermon today was this older couple. They had to be at least in their 50s like me. They both just kept staring at their phones and even taking pictures during the sermon. There were all these different decorations, gay pride and diversity and inclusion stuff up. I was super annoyed and wanted to say something, but then I thought, well, I can't say anything. I got up like 3 times. One time I got a coffee, another time I went to the restroom, the third time I went and sat out in the, the foyer, because the lady that was talking first, gosh, she was so loud. What they do is every sermon, they have some music, and then they have the kids come up. And so there are probably about 40, 45 kids go up, and somebody does a little sermon with them. It's kind of like a preview of what we're going to hear, but put at a kid level. Oh, and here's the park over there. And I don't know if it's just because she was talking to kids or whatnot, but this lady was loud. I even had tissue in my ears. She was too loud, so I went out into the other part and sat there and just watched it on the video screens. And then she was done, I went in, and the different lay people gave their testimonials, and everybody else just talked like at a normal tone, so that was nice. I'm gonna cross the street, so this time you could look at the sky. All right. I won't even talk when I'm crossing the street. See, in the city I live in, you can't. It's against the law. There are signs at a number of the crosswalks. You can't look at your phone and talk while crossing a busy street. And I like that law. I think it's a good thing. Now, do people obey it? Pretty much they do, even younger people. But obviously there are exceptions. Here I am at the park. Now, as far as these retirement videos go, I plan on doing 31 of these all together, and this is day 27, and just by chance my final video is going to take place on the 4th of July. Then what I'll do after that is I'll update occasionally about how everything in retirement is going for me. Now, let me sit down for a minute. I gotta take this hat off. It's supposed to get into the 90s today. Might already be in the 90s, I don't know. There's a lot of shade, not something I'm accustomed to. So, let me catch my breath for a second to show you the park a little bit more. There's a man sitting down over here with his infant son. He's cradling him, and that looks really nice. Isn't this a cool tree? After the service, there was a brunch that went on. They have a funny name for it. What's it called? Like it's not the church brunch, but I can't recall what it's called. Anyway, so it was very, very, very crowded, and it's free, though you can give donations. Sometimes I do, but mostly I don't. So I got some food and sat down at the table, and the pastor after a while comes down after there's been music playing and people are chatting and eating, and he gives the sermon again, but in a shortened form. Well, I got to sit by this lady. She's probably in her 60s, and her granddaughter that lives with her, and we started talking. And when she found out I was a school teacher, she wanted to know a tiny bit about it, but then she started telling me some horror story of what happened to a middle school teacher who was really good, and this boy claimed that he slammed him up against a wall, and this kid was already known to be a troublemaker, and so they never saw the teacher or the coach again. And she said she always wondered what happened, and I said most likely they transferred him because they didn't want any trouble. And that's for the protection of the school's image, the district's image. And apparently this kid is or was a big troublemaker. So this is kind of the things that happened with him. He did get 2 days of suspension. I assured the lady that the teacher or coach must have been transferred. That's a difficult thing to deal with, though. It brought back a lot of bad memories. I've known teachers, at least one teacher. I don't know if it's in the plural. I'd have to think it over. I taught for a lot of years. But I remember a coach getting transferred, and he didn't do anything bad. It's just that he yelled at a middle school girl, and then she tried to claim something that he said to her inappropriate, and so they just transferred him instantly. And I think she just didn't like being yelled at, personally. Well, she's a grown-up now, and she has her own child going to that school. I know that because the people were talking about that. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. That's one of the things that makes it really hard about when you're teaching, is you're so vulnerable. In the olden days, tenure, it seemed like it was ironclad, but now anybody can say anything and accuse you, and they just put you right to another spot. Now, it's not like just getting shipped to another store location in a mall or something. You have to start all the way over, and nothing like that ever happened to me. And considering my temper, okay, my Irish temper, it's kind of a surprise it didn't happen. And me and my big mouth. But it didn't. But I've known all sorts of teachers. Oh, look at, I have an audience, not only of you, but Chipmunk Squirrel down there probably thinks I have something to give them. People probably come to this park a lot for that. Anyhow, it just brought back all that dread you have as a public school teacher in the United States of America. You know, You have to live like a priest too. You got to be so careful about what you say, and obviously no cuss words. I tried very, very hard to be a good example. Let me rest this here. To the kids. Nobody's perfect, of course, but I think teaching middle school would be even harder unless you really enjoy that. I worked at different schools. One was K through 8th, and another one was K through 5th, K through 6th. We've had transition kindergarten through 6th, which was my latest school. I feel really lucky in the district that I worked in. I had a good district, and though I didn't always agree with their policies, didn't like all their administrators, it was a good, solid district. When you exit teaching, I guess they do this especially, well, maybe not especially, but now I was with this one district for 25 years, but you fill out a form online and they want to know if you have any complaints or anything you would change about the school. And I didn't really have anything to say because I just wanted to leave on a positive note, so I wrote that the district did me well and that it was a good district. Now, when they've sent surveys to me, one thing I find super interesting is at least once or twice a year, as a school teacher, they will send you different surveys. And what you're supposed to do is there are all these different bars, and you put them in the order. You click and drag them in the order of importance that you think that they should be in, as far as a concern of the district, or should the district pour money into this or that. I always enjoyed doing that because I felt like that was a very powerful thing to do. There are things that are going on all across America that I disagree with. And yes, I go to a very liberal church and have taken up some very liberal views. I still have a lot of conservative views as well, and I respect that side of me, and why should I change it? And so I don't like some of the changes that are going on or trying to go on in education. See the squirrel over there. It's probably about 1 in the afternoon now. And what am I gonna do? After this, I'll drink this water, kick back for a few minutes, and then I'll head on back to the house. I don't really have too many plans, except tonight I am going to be filming that Vandenberg rocket launch, and that's 190 miles north of where we live, and it should take us, I would say it takes us about 4 minutes to see one of their rockets. That's going to be really neat. That's exciting to be able to be out there and film that and see that, because I've never seen one of those nighttime ones where you see all those glowing colors and everything going on, except by accident. This is the first time that I know that something like that's going to be going on. So I look forward to filming that and putting it up for you guys to see. Now, take care and peace, and have a fantastic day and night.